All right, so the next benefit that we have for you guys that you qualify for is the freedom of choice funeral benefit. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever dealt with the financial side of arranging a funeral before? All right, well, you're very fortunate, but I'm sure you've obviously seen some of the horror stories with the way funerals are being handled nowadays. People having to start GoFundMe accounts, maxing out credit cards, taking loans, and literally paying interest on their loved ones. And the reason why that's happening is because life insurance doesn't work the way it used to. So before, when you had a life insurance policy, you could actually bring that policy into the funeral home, hand it over to the funeral director, and the funeral directors used to hold those policies as collateral. And the reason being is at that point in time, insurance companies had 24 days to pay out those claims. Now, on average, it takes 60 days, in some cases up to a full year for a life insurance policy to pay out. And the reason that they keep that money from your family is because they make millions and millions of dollars off of the interest, okay? So while your family's grieving and going through a tough time, they're withholding that money so they can make more money off of your family. And the unions got sick and tired of seeing that happening to families, and that's why they created the freedom of choice benefit. What this is a permanent, portable, prearranged funeral for the rest of your life. So the day that you pass away, your family's gonna take this freedom of choice into any funeral home of their choice. They hand it over to the funeral director. All the expenses are taken care of. There's no checkbooks, there's no credit cards. It's gonna pay an immediate sum of money on the spot for your funeral arrangements. Now, the funeral directors, they love this benefit because it's backed and endorsed by all the big, powerful unions like yours. So this has the backing of the police, the nurses, the firefighters, all of the major unions in Massachusetts and throughout the country, okay? So they know that they're gonna get paid. Now, on the back side of this document, there's going to be a section where it says assignment. Now, this is where you're going to write the negotiated cost for that funeral. Now, the most important thing is making sure you never disclose that information to the funeral home. Because if you went into the funeral home bragging that, you left your family $30,000 for your funeral, how much do you think that funeral is magically going to cost now? $30,000, probably $31,000, right? They're going to get everything that they can and more. Because unfortunately, the funeral industry is a business, and it's the third most profitable business in the country. Unfortunately, they take advantage of people while they're grieving. Now, it shouldn't happen like that. The union doesn't allow it to happen like that, and neither do we. Okay, so whatever that negotiated amount is, it's going to get written in up top. And then on the lines below, you're going to write all the arrangements that you want to have. Now, this is going to completely take care of everything. Your ground opening, your ground closing, your plot, memorial cards, tombstone, everything's completely taken care of with the freedom of choice. The funeral director simply signs down here as the witness, and your beneficiary and best friend signs here. Guys, this is literally the cleanest, most compassionate way to take care of what's inevitably going to happen to all of us. Okay, now there are two very important numbers that they're going to go over. The first one's going to be the 1-800 number on the front side here. They're going to call that 1-800 number to make sure that your coverage is active, which after today it will be. And then the second number they're going to ask is how much do you have for that funeral. And guys, just like I said, it's very important that your beneficiary never disclose that information to the funeral home, because any remaining balance is going to go straight back to you and your family. All right. Now, do you guys understand how this freedom of choice is going to work for you? Do you see how important it is to make sure that you have this coverage in place so that burden is never left on your family? Now, Pam, let me ask you something. If Jim didn't have this coverage in place, what would you do? Well, guys, again, from this day forward, you never have to worry about having that feeling, because you're always going to have this shield that Jim's going to leave behind for you for his funeral service. All right. Now, just as important as you, Jim, Pam is also going to have one of these freedom of choices. So the day that she passes away, all the kids do is bring this into the funeral home, slide it over to the funeral director, and then they go back home with the family and grieve. Any questions on how this is going to work for you and your family? All right. Now, the next benefit that you